Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on!
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Thursday's study of the sweet honeypot of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Discussion.
It's a discussion. It's a show. It's a story. It's a fascinating story, how to connect the soul with the divine. It's not our idea. It is the ancient teachings of India. Sanatan Dharma. I love that concept. Everybody's a spiritual being. We're actually all on different paths to try to understand God. And and I will say this book, this 18,000 verse book, they say it is the bridge to cross the ocean of material birth and death. I heard that description this morning.
Okay.
I just went from doing like the highest thing to the lowest thing. Can I share?
Maybe the highest part.
The highest thing. I'm putting flowers with Mara on my deities. We're chanting the Ganga Stotram, doing a puja. And then then that finished, all finished. Go to dump out the flowers. And there is a decapitated, not a bunny, a decapitated like jackalope. Like the rabbit was so big that the cats had killed. I had to get rid of the bunny rabbit.
They left it on your doorstep or something?
Yeah, they bring it to us as a gift. But it's sort of like, that's the material world. It's like the highest and the lowest. And it's just always like just changing. And we're always in these changing seasons of highs and lows.
It was offered with devotion, but it was not what you wanted.
It was not accepted.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just the material world is this type of place. There's seasons, Prabhu. There's seasons. And some seasons are sunny and some seasons are cold and bitter. And we're just trying to like hold on to some steadiness within these changing seasons, Prabhu. What do you think about that?
I think that's a good thought to share.
Yeah. And I'm gearing up to go to India tomorrow.
You're coming down tonight, though, right?
I'm trying to come down tonight if I can get out of here. I want to see my mom. I want to see
they're
you.
Expecting you at the Bhakti Center now.
Well, I'm going to try. To get there. I think
How would you get here? You can take the
train. Go on without me. I'll take a train. But these are private conversations left between you and me. These people don't need to hear this.
All right.
You know what I'm realizing?
Tell me.
Prabhupada, like I'm not an exclusivist. I believe that Christians are devotees of God too. But I will say, I just heard Keshava Swami do an interview on Ranveer, the Beer Biceps, the Ranveer show, which is
he did that?
Huge podcast in India. It's like the Joe Rogan of India. And I've like, he's had like Keshava Swami, he's had Gauranga, he's had Gaur Gopal.
And he had you, but what happened?
No, he did. Well, he had me. We're going to do it again, I think, in January. But I tell you, it's just like, I feel like we're on the brink. We're in the, how when the wave goes into the ocean and then starts catching and then starts coming back, we're just going into it. I feel like there's going to be a bhakti tsunami at any moment, and we're just like, we're on the
No, that's-
precipice of it. This is all
you're-
about to happen.
Exactly, Rogan. We just had to keep pecking away, pecking the best
Oh,
we can. Everybody
everybody
in your
here
own way.
has a duty to the whole. If you've been touched, moved, and inspired, let's spread this. Let's spread this out to everybody. Share it. Everybody can share it, like it, follow it, share it. We share stupid things. We share stupid videos. We share animal attack videos. Come on, share these podcasts or podcasts that inspire you. Yeah, that's called the Ranveer, Ranveer, the Ranveer Show.
That's what it's called. I thought it was called Beer and Biceps.
His nickname is Beer Biceps, which I still
Okay.
don't understand what that means, but
Beer Biceps. Never understood that one.
anyway, sometimes Indians, in countries like England, you have the same language, but you're like in different places, so you create your own sub language. Like, I don't understand anything those British guys are saying.
Okay.
What to speak of the people from Scotland?
All right, Rogan.
Okay,
Let's keep this. What happened to Mara? Where's Mara today? This empty
Mara is
chimney.
getting Tarun ready. It's my last day with Tarun.
So, are you prepared to do the announcements today?
Mara, any announcements?
Where is
Any
she?
announcements, Kaustubha? You want to announce?
I'm sure. Here we go. Here she comes. I bet it has something to do with
She's
Bhakti
serving
Recovery Meeting.
breakfast and announcements.
Okay. We have back to recovery group meetings at 9 a.m. and at noon. And tomorrow is the cult of Josh Kane at 10:30 a.m. for our Patreon members.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had to cancel Sweet Baby Krishna last night.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's a bummer. So we're on at 8:00 tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And then we're gonna have to let you know tomorrow when the show after that will be. I'm hoping it'll be Sunday morning for everyone.
Yeah, definitely no show on Saturday because we'll all be traveling.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be back by Sunday.
Okay. All right, Rogan. We got a nugget.
All right, let's nug this out. Nugget it out. All right, sir.
Who's it from?
It is from Martin Luther King Jr.
He needs no introduction.
Needs no introduction. We all know who he is. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. It's almost like he was a devotee or something. He's got so many good
he was a
devotee
devotee.
quotes. All right. Okay.
I didn't mean to counter. I didn't mean to take the wind out of your sails there. I thought I was adding more wind to your sails.
I mean, jumping up and down, chanting Hare Krishna in a previous life. But yeah, he was a devotee, of course. He's a spiritualist. I have to become. I have to become more broad-minded.
That's right. Well, that's kind of what he's asking for here too, isn't it?
Yeah, an individual
Yeah,
has not
narrow
started living
confines.
until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns. Yeah, you'll hear Prabhupada say things like, we either are selfish or we have an extended selfishness towards nation, religion, family, etc. It's interesting to think like that, an extended selfishness. Like, these are my people. These are my people. You know what? You want exclusivity? We got it. We're even gonna include the rabbits. We feel sad for the rabbits that have been killed. We feel sad for the trees that have been killed. We want to make this circle so big, every living entity can live in it. We want to learn to treat every living being with dignity. What a nice way to live. What a different world that would be. And of course, there's going to be cultural differences according to cultures. And you know what? That's meant to be tolerated. Tolerate them. Treat people with dignity. Come on.
There's the way that he phrased it is interesting, right? That an individual hasn't started living. So in other words, what is life meant for? If you're not this unique opportunity as a human being, you haven't accepted the opportunity until you begin to think on the spiritual platform. You're just entirely missing the opportunity. So he's saying you haven't started living yet. And how does he define it? Like, what's he saying? He's giving us a very general idea of what this is all about. And he says it's about
rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns, right? That's me first and the gimmies.
That's
right.
Yeah. So it's until we start to think there's something more than that, until we slow down and say, hold it, what's going on here for real? Is this just about connecting my senses to objects of the senses for my pleasure and comforts? Or, as you're saying, extending that a little bit, maybe my family's pleasures and comforts? If we consider it almost like heroic, if we say, oh, my nation's pleasure and comforts, right? Like, well, what a great soul that was, because they expanded it wider, you know? But we really haven't begun to understand who we even are. Like, how are you living if you don't know who you are? And we haven't begun to understand who we are unless we're understanding in the context of every living being, that we're all made of that same spiritual energy. So he's saying you have to broaden it. I think this is for all of us, for people that are listening to Wisdom of the Sages every day and wanting to become, a sadhu, right? Like a true, deeply spiritual person, a wise person, that this becomes a central focus. How do I relate to every living being? Do I bear animosity within my heart to any living being? Can I expand my natural spiritual affection outside of any borders to reach every living being? Are you speaking, Raghunath? Because I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted it by mistake.
What are you doing?
What?
I thought you were muted. What are you doing?
I was muted by mistake.
You were muted. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You thought I was just mouthing
saying.
Speaking
No, I thought you're muted, and then you clicked in so fast that I thought you weren't muted. Prabhupada, in the previous verse that we just read, I think we read text 14 yesterday, and there's a little something there that Prabhupada writes in the commentary. He says, if society is guided by political diplomacy, right? And I think that when he's saying this, I think he's speaking about it in terms of nations, but I think, even within, smaller groups, whether it be, within our working, the world of that which we work in, those relationships, or even family relationships, there's political diplomacy often,
right,
where basically you are fighting for the benefit of yourself or a limited number of people to the detriment of another group of people, right? So if society is guided by political diplomacy, one nation maneuvering against another, it will certainly sink like a stone boat. Political maneuvering and diplomacy will not save human society. And now Prabhupada says this is going to sound like, oh, you just want everyone to get into your thing. He says, people must take to Krishna consciousness to understand the aim of life, to understand God, and to fulfill the human mission. Now, we've seen other places where Prabhupada is like, hey, if you're a Christian, you stay Christian. Just do it for real,
Well, you just corrected me. I said Martin Luther King. It sounds like he was a devotee in his last life. You're like, he is a devotee, you fool. Remember?
I didn't say that. I didn't
say you fool.
That's just how you heard it.
That's how I heard it.
But here, when Prabhupada says people must take to Krishna consciousness, what I understand when he says that is people must develop this spiritual vision that is Krishna consciousness, but that is the same vision that the Christian or the Hindu, the Muslim, the Buddha, they're all trying to develop this spiritual vision, right? That if we're not getting serious about this, we're definitely not living on the spiritual level when we're bearing any animosity. So this is our daily prayer. It's our daily focus to rid my heart of animosity towards any other, every single one,
Sure. I think, we have, like, in political arenas, we have like extreme sides on one side say, you know what, we are all whatever we think we are. And then the other side, we have like, no, we are this nation, against these confines. And we're very select who we're letting in and out, stuff like that. So we have two extremes going on actively right now. And we stay somewhere right in the middle where we appreciate different. We don't want to whitewash every culture to be the same. And we think there's a beauty between different cultures. Some cultures offer, just like why I like to go eat dinner in Manhattan, because you can get all different types of food. Just cultures have different wonderful things to offer. But at the same time, where we find that commonality is something more common than the culture. It's a spiritual culture. And these two can be balanced, I think, and appreciated.
Yeah, when Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness, what I find so valuable about specifically what's coming through the Vedic literature is that it's not just asking us to do this out of a sentiment, but it's actually giving us a practical vision of why it makes sense to see the spiritual equality of every living being. Why it makes sense. That has to do with we're all made of the same spark of spiritual energy emanating from the same source, so we're all equal. And then when you bring in the ideas of reincarnation and karma, then you begin to get the idea of how we're all moving through different bodies under different circumstances, reacting in certain ways, and that I've also reacted in those ways and been in those bodies.
Yeah.
And so now it's giving me like more data for this to make sense, right? It's not just like, oh, that's a sweet sentiment. No, it's practical reality. See it. Try to see through those eyes. Try to see every living being through those lenses, and then you're beginning to think spiritually. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing for oneself. The individual benefits from it. We actually get peace. We're seeing Indra right now in this what we're reading now in Bhagavatam, and he sees a certain group of people as his rivals, as his enemies. It's going to incite fear in his heart. It's going to make him act ways that he knows are beneath his own dignity, and he's going to suffer anxiety for it. He's going to suffer deep anxiety and fear, and due to it, we actually relieve ourselves of a heavy, heavy burden when we let go of animosity towards any living being. We have to learn to do that. It's also like this. This is the way I see it, Raghunath.
What do you say?
It's like if our goal as bhakti yogis, is to connect deeply in love with that supreme being, the source of it all.
Yeah.
When you love someone deeply, you have to. The bond is in. The depth of the bond has so much to do with a certain alignment that's there, a certain alignment in the heart that's there. So, like, for instance, if a man and a woman, they feel a connection between them, but one hates the other's relatives, or hates those that are dear to that other person, then the bond really is never fully made. When they're in alignment, then there's a connection. So, like, if God's vision is that I love every living being, if the guru or the sadhu, if their vision is I love every living being, and we're trying to come to connect deeply with them, we have to begin to align our mind and our heart with their vision, and it's the vision of truth. So that's the kind of when Krishna is always saying, like what is it, satatam yuktanam, like, connect with me, like, always. It means connect with me in your vision. See every living being like I see them. See this world as I see it. See everyone as I see them, with love, seeing their spiritual essence. Then we are aligned. And unless we're going to knock down those sectarian ideas are barriers towards for that connection, and we have to dismantle them in order to really connect.
Dismantle. I'm with you.
Okay.
All right, now we're going to dismantle. Not dismantle. We're going to dismantle our material self and dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay.
You say. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, Srila Vyasadeva, the author, Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki, by regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Madadam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 7, Text 22. And we have who's speaking now?
22. I think we have. Well, Indra is lamenting that he neglected to properly honor his guru, and then the demons. Then we start to hear the story about how the demons start to attack them, recognizing their weakness. Now that they start to attack.
Who's talking to Indra right now?
Well, I don't know if anyone. Well, he went to go speak to Lord Brahma.
Oh, Brahmanas. That's what's going on.
Yeah, and so
Brahma's
now Brahma's going to try to help them.
Yeah,
but he's going to kind of lay into them a little bit too. Come on, guys.
It's pretty cool. Like Brahma's their god, sort of. You know, he's the god of all the demigods.
He's kind of like they go to him for sage advice.
He's kind of above the supervisor. He's not.
What do you call it? Like above the fray? Is that what people say? He's kind of like, a bit of. Is that right, Mara? Above the fray. Yeah, he's kind of like not. He's not as confused as them. He is the grandfather,
Yeah.
So they're going to him to
Grandpa Brahma. Yeah. Imagine that if he was your grandfather. Going to see Grandpa.
All right, what text are we on?
22. Because of your misbehavior towards Brihaspati, you have been defeated by demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? Oh, Indra, your enemies, the demons, were extremely weak because of their disrespect towards Sukracharya. That's their guru.
Right.
But since they have now worshipped Sukracharya with great devotion, they have become powerful again. By their devotion to Sukracharya, they have increased their strength so much that now they are even able to easily seize my abode from me. The worship of their guru is powerful, huh? That appreciation, that respect, we spoke about that a few days ago.
Yeah, it's very important.
Because of their firm determination to follow the instructions of Sukracharya, their guru, his disciples, the demons, are now unconcerned about the demigods. In fact, kings or others who have determined faith in the mercy of the Brahmins, cows, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who always worship these three, are always strong in their position.
Did you skip something? Or did I miss something? What text was that?
I was 24. I was on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are three things. You're strong in your devotion towards the personality of Godhead, towards the Brahmins and the cows. Some groups of people can't understand, like, okay, Brahmins, they're like the priestly people. Okay, God, okay. The cow? Why not any other random animal? People, that sometimes is the people's trigger point with Hinduism.
Yeah.
If you want to get into it, but we believe that cows are sacred. There you go. We can leave it at that. We can dissect the whole thing.
In one sense, you could look at it like this. What did it mention? Brahmanas?
Brahmanas,
cows?
The personality of Godhead, and cows.
Okay.
You worship those three things.
You're
always strong in your position.
Well, the idea, I think part of the idea in any case, is that let's look at Brahmanas, right? If we read these texts, there's always, when it talks about like the worst thing you can do, the worst sin you could commit.
Brahmana hatya.
Brahmana hatya, yeah, the
killing of a Brahmin.
And like I was saying, if you go to these books like the Manu Samhita,
forget it.
It's like, oh man, if you kill a Brahmana, the what you have to do to atone for that is just like, I mean,
it's like you see some thug on a street and you kill him. That's a bad thing. But then you kill like this holy person who's like a sweet,
you see, and
introvert, right? There's where you're going.
Well, yeah, because I think the idea was like, let's set aside our modern day skepticism, which is, often deserved, often appropriate.
Yeah.
And let's assume that there was a time, an era, where people's minds weren't so disturbed, where people weren't quite so hypocritical, or, where there was, a higher, purer level of leadership. So then you had these Brahmanas who voluntarily lived incredibly simply, right, for the good of others, who voluntarily, like, deeply dove into wisdom and studied it and presented it in ways that were not only inspiring, but ways that preserved harmony. Right. It's because of, it's kind of what's going on right now. They're going to Burma, but, like, imagine if you had a village and there was an elder.
Yeah.
And everybody respected that elder. And that elder wanted nothing, had no personal needs or wants, because they're so satisfied with their deep spiritual understanding.
Yeah.
They were beyond being bribed or influenced by everyone, and everybody knew it.
Yeah.
And they had such good insights that it was, and everyone could recognize it was through their influence, because everybody trusted them, that they were always able to help everyone live together harmoniously. Right? Because there was someone that everyone could trust their character, trust their qualification, trust their insight. That person becomes essential. That one person's becomes essential to the well-being of everyone in the village now. And if you go and kill that person,
right,
in a sense, you've gone and you've harmed,
disrupted
everyone.
everything, all the order.
Yeah. Now the same goes for the cow, right? You say, and when we say the cow, we mean the cow and the bull, right?
Sure.
That
We're not just
that
glorifying the female cow.
yeah.
This isn't all about you, ladies out there. This is a
Why
male
can't they
too.
say
Cows are
bull
also
as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's this team, cow and bull, that not only provides, and let's be clear, what's being said here is that they should be honored, right? They would never be killed in this civilization. They would always be cared for in the civilization.
They're grass-fed. They're free roaming.
And they would be, they'd be obviously very loved and very well cared for. They're providing milk, which is a miracle food. I'm sorry, what people are testing nowadays and saying this is so bad for it, it's not milk.
Never
It's not the real
belongs in the
thing.
human body.
They homogenize it. They pump it full of
Homogenize it,
hormones,
pasteurize
they
it.
abuse the animals. There's all kind of, it's not even close. But Ayurvedically, you can see that milk is an incredibly
There's a we
valuable.
will admit the discrepancy going out there, because cows are mistreated. Even where I live, the loving, like at the Waldorf school, they have these cows that are grass-fed, really cared for. They're brushed, they're combed. If you go and visit the barns, they look very sweet. But when they stop milking, they send them for slaughter. So there's a lifetime of a cow. You're living with a cow as if you have a family member. And there's a symbiotic, and this is where we sort of like veer, say, from a hardcore vegan, because we believe there can be symbiotic relationships with animals where they feel loved. Like my dog actually feels loved. He feels like he's part of the family. I take care of him. And if he was trained a little better, which he is not, he would be doing things for me. He would be, he'd be like gathering things. He's like, just right now, he's, what do they call those dogs? He's sort of like a, not lazy. He's, they call dogs now these things where you can get them on a plane. What are they?
Therapy dog?
A therapy dog. He'd be a therapy dog. He's sort of my therapy dog, but for the most part, the dogs can feel use. I will say this about my sheep. My sheep, when they are contained, they feel, I can sense their happiness. They like to be protected because they're vulnerable animals. And they also, because I put them in an electric fence, not so they'll escape, so that predators don't come in, and they feel contained. Like a child will feel contained by the mother or father, and they'll feel safe. Like the child wants parameters, and then they'll mow a particular area, and they mow and they fertilize, and then you switch them, and then you move them around.
They fertilize,
and they fertilize. Isn't that amazing? You're fertilizing and mowing.
Well, let's get back to the cow.
Well, the cow, the soil becomes 80% more fertile with cow dung. Don't underestimate the power of cow dung.
And that's just one thing.
It's amazing.
It is amazing, Raghunath. Let me pull something up.
And it's an antiseptic. And it's one of these things where you and I have been into villages in India where entire villages are made of cow dung, clay, and straw. And these beautiful cob cottages, which now have become very fashionable.
Yeah, they have. They're kind of nice inside.
They're really nice, and they don't smell. They smell wonderful.
So
The walls are thick. Have you been in a cob cottage? The walls are like this thick, and you feel completely almost like you're in a cave, and they keep you cool in the summer, and they're warm in the winter. And villages all over the world, not just in India, all over the world, we're using this dung as a way to build with, to make floors. They have almost like floors so hard you could tap dance on, practically speaking. And then after a while, after 3 weeks, they get a little crumbly, and you smear it back out, and they make these very flat floors, and they keep one tree growing, and that acts like a canopy in these tropical countries. And this is the way simple villages live all over the world. And there's no dumpsters. There's no what do you call the dump? There's no going to the dump. I go to the dump a lot, and they're like, "Oh, you can't dump these things. You can't dump those light bulbs. You can't dump these aerosol cans. You can't dump these paint cans."
Nothing to dump in this civilization.
Nothing to dump. Everything you dump, you just recycle, or something eats it. I always say it like this: if we can't dump it, stop making it. Stop making the stuff we can't dump.
You mean like that big television screen right behind you?
Like your microphone, Mr. Wise Guy.
Okay, this is from the infographic I made, Raghunath. You ready? This
What?
talks
You made
about
an
the cow.
infographic?
I made this a long time ago.
Who are you, man?
This is moving towards a simpler, cleaner, less violent Earth by uniting
us.
farm and city.
Tell us.
So our nation currently provides food through a meat-based, industrialized model.
Did you
built
come up
on-
with this? Did you come up with this, or did you?
Yes.
You're so bright. You're
Thank
a
you.
bright light.
Well, you haven't even heard it yet. It may be really bad. Yeah.
Okay.
If you see it, maybe I could share this on the.
Now, don't share because.
All right.
No,
Because I got little icons and everything.
There's only 66 people on the show today. If you share it, that's good for 66. There's about 13,000 who are downloading.
Okay. Maybe I'll share it later.
Sorry, 66.
You're just disappointed at 66. I'll share it in a bit. Our nation currently provides food through a meat-based industrialized model built on cruelty and dependence on machinery and fossil fuels.
Yep.
Okay. So that means that which requires mining the earth for iron.
Mining.
So you got to blow up the earth and, factories for producing machinery.
Yep.
But you got to make the tractors that you're going to eat from and to transport all the food and all that. Refrigerators, all these things. Drilling for a rapidly depleting supply of oil. And toxic oil refineries. You ever lived near an oil refinery?
Well, not only that, it's like, first of all, you're burning it into the atmosphere, and then all of a sudden you have when you change the oil, you're like, what do I do with this oil?
I'm not
You're not done. Well, I'm just backing you up, man.
Okay, no, hold on. Okay, thank you. And involving horrible cruelty to animals.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely inflated demand for water.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's these factory farms that just suck up all the water and make, create so many difficulties. And chemical fertilizers and pesticides. That's our method. That's how we work.
That's how it's working. Chemical fertilizer. I mean, that is the most.
We're poisoning ourselves.
It's like if you're hungry, that's like eating your own hand. Come on.
Okay.
It's like child stuff. A third grader could figure this. Wait, we can't do this. We're trying to get rid of the pests. Where's that stuff going? It's going right into the earth, right into your water table.
Right into your bodies.
Into our bodies.
Yeah.
Come on.
And so then all of that is resulting in climate change and depletion of the Earth's resources, destructions of rivers and depletion of our water supply.
Isn't that sad?
Oh,
like
you used to actually be able to swim in the rivers. You can't anymore.
You could go anywhere. The last thing you want to do is like go into these beautiful farmlands and swim in these beautiful rivers, because after they spray the corn, all the pesticides go right into the water table, right into the creeks, right into the rivers.
There's no Brahmana. You see, this is why you need the Brahmana. This is why the
There's no
Brahmana is so
Brahmins.
important.
We need
They would say,
Brahmanas.
"No,
Some
no,
of you
no, we
out there are
don't."
Brahmanas, and we need you to step forward.
Right.
And all you got to do is let go of a bunch of your nonsense. And you
You.
know who you are.
Air pollution, disease, and a culture of violence as a karmic reaction to animal slaughter. This is what the sadhus say, right? This is why we're slaughtering each other.
Well, you kill. It takes a hardened heart to work in a meat factory, to be a butcher. It takes a type of hardened heart. Just
you
how
callous.
you know what I was like taking away that dead rabbit today. I was like, you poor little rabbit.
Oh,
Getting the string of Dave mantras, for his soul. But you know what I mean? It's like, because we're sensitive, we become sensitive.
You know what? I'll tell you something, Raghunath. This will blow your mind. Okay,
I'll tell you something after you tell me.
I'm going to tell you something.
Well, I'm going to tell you something next.
All right. I had a wonderful time last night. I was out walking about on the Upper West Side around 5:30 yesterday.
Yeah.
And then I got a text from Sri Prahlad. Hey, you want to hang out? You want to take a walk together in the park?
Oh, devotees want to hang out, take a walk. You're sweet.
Yeah, so we did. Then
you guys are so sattvic. Let's go for a walk.
So anyway, we spend that time. We spent at least a couple hours together. It was dark when I.
That's what
home.
we do at our age. We go for walks.
Nice.
Me and Mary are always going for walks.
Oh, look at you two. And then I was walking home, and I turned the corner on Columbus Avenue. I'm coming up my street, and I saw a pigeon, a white pigeon.
Oh yeah, nice. I love white pigeons.
All kind of like
cold
against the wall, like leaning against the wall, like it was suffering and injured.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I came to its aid, Raghunath, thinking of you, and I was. You know who I was really thinking of? I was thinking of your daughter.
Ah, she would have saved that pigeon. I think we did save a pigeon. Remember?
I remember that. Yeah.
At the Bhakti Center, my daughter found a pigeon. We saved it.
Yeah. And so I went and I got it a little water. I figured it looks injured. I think it needs time to heal. I think that's why it's there. It's rejuvenating, but it may need water and food,
Yeah.
So I went out and I got it a little something to eat and a little bit
Good
of
for
water.
you. What did you bring? Is it in your
And I
apartment
saw it
now?
again this morning.
Is your apartment? Did you bring it home?
No, I didn't bring it home.
No, pigeons are gross.
No, but I don't know if it would even help it if I brought it home. It'll probably freak out.
Of course, it would have helped
it. No, I get so scared.
All right, here's my story. That was a very good story.
But I saw that pigeon this morning, Raghunath. It was rejuvenated.
Oh, it was better.
Yeah, because I was walking
like there's only one white pigeon in New York City. Are you sure
no. It was in the same place, leaning against the same wall.
Okay, that's reasonable. Well, it doesn't sound rejuvenated.
No. But I thought that too. I was like, oh, there it is again. And then someone was walking a dog, and the dog kind of went after it, and then went and it flew and went all the way to the roof of the building.
You did help that pigeon. Good for you.
I did.
You're a good man.
Okay, but let me.
Here's my story. No, my turn.
No, we're doing my infographic.
All right, hold the infographic. I just
want
to say how because the last thing you said, check out my photographic memory. The last thing you said was, in this world of violence, when we create violence to the cows, we'd become a little desensitized. Here's my
culture
story.
Of violence as a karmic reaction to animal slaughter. Here's
my story. I was a teenage fisherman.
That memory wasn't quite photographic, but it was in the right ballpark.
Pretty good. Okay. Anyway, I don't want my son to hear this, but I was a teenage fisherman. I would fish for largemouth bass on a regular basis alone. It was my connection to nature, my connection to the outdoors, going into the pond early in the morning, rising early, watching the dew rise, the fog. Then I'd cast my spinner bait into or rubber worm or whatever, or real worm into the pond. And so I went through this whole thing, but then I had this vegetarian awakening. I was like, no, I'm not gonna eat meat anymore. But I still liked fish because I like fishing. I like the concept of fishing because it was connected me with nature. So I didn't give up fishing for a year.
Okay.
And so then when I went back after a punk rock tour around America, which is anyone's bit. Sometimes people think I'm in a band and they think, oh, Raghunath's glamorous lifestyle. Wasn't glamorous. There was nowhere to sleep. We're sleeping in cars. We're sleeping in gross, disgusting houses. It was not glamorous at all. But
I don't know if anybody's thinking that, but
some people think, oh, he's in a band on tour. They're like the Rolling Stones. No, They got a big tour bus. No, we got a band that we weren't sure if it would make it to Syracuse from here, you know? So anyway, I went fishing and I had a bunch of worms and I could not put the worm on the hook. After 1 year of conscious pescatarianism, is that what they call it? I was like, I can't do this. Why would I put a worm on a hook? The poor worm is squealing and squabbling and squawking. I can't do this. And so we develop. So yes, when you care for animals, and I highly recommend vegans have animals in their lives if they don't. What's our friend from, what's her name? Cinnamon Snail.
Cinnamon snail.
I've
never met the cinnamon snail.
Oh, you got to meet the
people.
cinnamon snail guy.
All
They
these
have a lot of
years, I haven't-
animals. They have a baby. Remember that, Tarun? We have a baby kangaroo or a baby wallaby.
They
their
had
house?
a cart that would go out there with
Yeah.
vegan
Vegan goodies.
goodies.
Yeah. And so when you care about these animals, all of a sudden you realize, and you're consciously not eating them, you don't want to hurt a little worm. You don't want to hurt a spider, Prabhu.
But if we start to abuse the earth and abuse the animals, we just get harder and harder. We start to abuse each other.
Yeah.
That's the karmic reaction. Okay, so again, these are we have this model.
Are you going to continue on with your
infographic? I'm back to that.
Thank you.
Back to that. It was a great point, Raghunath. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Personal tidbit.
Personal experience. Yes. Worms.
That's great. That's great. So our nation again is currently providing food through a meat-based industrialized model, right? It uses tons of cruelty to animals, refrigeration, fossil fuels, machinery. That in previous ages, none of that was there, right?
Yeah.
None of that was there.
There has to be some
maybe
major
the killing
shifts,
animals.
though.
Was there,
This
but
is the
not
way
like
people,
the way they kill them now.
There has to be some major shift though, because basically these are like what people. This is sort of how capitalism works. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so here's the shift.
Okay, there's got to be a
positive alternative.
What's a positive? Don't say Beyond Beef.
No. Is an economy and diet based on simple living.
Okay, there we go.
And a relationship of cooperation and love between humans and cows. And bulls, for that matter.
And plants.
We're going to kill the plants.
We're not going to. I got news for you. You don't have to kill berries. When you cut them back, they grow more. They give more.
Okay.
You don't have to kill apples. You eat
Okay.
them. There's going to be a little death. That's just part of it. I mow the lawn. Frogs are running for their lives.
But we're
I
only
get
going to
that.
kill
But I'm just
those
saying
beings that are the least sensitive so that they don't suffer. It's a very different thing to pull a carrot out of the ground and to slice the throat of a cow or to pummel its head with some horrible machinery or something like that. Okay.
Sure.
Cows and,
Or sometimes you cutting romaine lettuce too. It's like it's not dying.
okay.
You know,
But
you
even if
cut
it does die, the point is it doesn't feel the pain the way that.
Well, I wouldn't say
but-
that. I wouldn't say that.
No,
It
I would
feels
say
some
that.
type. I wouldn't say it,
I would.
and I wouldn't because there is
I'm not
research
saying
going
that
on that they do feel some type of pain. It's just different than a cow's pain or a goat's pain or a hippopotamus's
Well,
pain.
that's kind of like saying if I stick a pin into your toe, do you feel it? Yeah, it's very painful. What if you had a tourniquet around your leg so that it was entirely numb and I stuck it in? Then you might feel something, but you're not going to feel nearly the amount of pain because you're
Yeah.
duller to that pain. And the point, according to these ancient texts, is that the experience of the plants is far, far duller.
Sure.
than that of the
We
animals.
don't, you can't be pain free in this world, but this culture is, let's minimize pains. Let's minimize pains. Plants.
That's my
Okay.
point.
Danielle Tompkins says plants don't have pain receptors, apparently. I challenge you, Danielle.
Okay.
I think they do feel pain, but the fact is it's minimized. We try to minimize pain.
It's greatly minimized.
Even
It's
in our
greatly
relationships with each other. If you hurt my feelings, you will say, you know what, Raghu, I'm sorry. Well, you know why? Because we minimize pain even to each other.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Please
Because
let
my
me continue.
feelings were slightly hurt earlier. Okay.
All right.
After the show, you can make.
You're
that up.
very sensitive, Raghunath. Not like a plant. Are you ready?
Yes.
So the positive alternative is an economy and diet based on simple living and a relationship of cooperation and love between humans and cows.
Mm-hmm.
Cows and bulls live a life of much greater comfort, health, security, and love when cared for properly. Right?
Did I ever tell you about the guy, a friend of mine, who had his own cow that never had a calf, but gave him milk for 13 years
Because the cow loved him.
because the cow loved him.
Amazing. Okay. Cows and bulls live a life of much greater comfort, health, security, and love when they're cared for properly. When you live with cows, you know this.
Yeah.
And they happily provide not only milk for drinking and converting into amazing products like yogurt, butter, cheese, and ghee. Right? These will become, if they're done right, these are very healthy, life-giving, giving healthy fats and all kinds of protein, all kinds. But they also,
I like when you get all scientific, healthy fats and protein.
yeah, that's true. But they also plow the land, right? You don't need a tractor anymore.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing.
You don't need to create petroleum fuels to fuel a tractor. You don't need to create horrible factories in the cities and all kinds of refineries and all.
Well, if something happens with the supply chain hard enough, you have to start figuring out how to use big animals, farm animals,
Sure.
horses, bulls, etc. Because then you got to fuel, you got to heat your house with what
Imagine
you got.
us trying to figure this out like tomorrow. Oh God,
I know these are like,
team.
you know what and it's happening right now, even outside Bhakti movement, is people are trying to figure out how to do this again, how to redo this, how to
you're getting into the survivalist
how to use
mode.
water, how to use water to grind things, how to use mills. I live in an area where there's mills everywhere. Yeah. There's old decrepit
People used
mills.
to use these things, harness the power of
you
the
harness that energy. You harness, you hold.
like that word harness.
I do. You harness and you hold it and you distribute it at your will. So we become. You're mocking me, but I'm serious.
No, I'm just enjoying hearing you speak. Okay, they plow the land to provide healthy grains, fruits, and vegetables. So all our food, from the milk products to the grains and the fruits, the vegetables, everything that we need, the cow and the bull are providing. What about our clothes? Yeah, crops like cotton. That's what you make your clothes out of, right?
Yeah.
What about electricity? How am I going to light my house? Oil-rich plants like castor and so on. That's how you light your house. Even the manure, as you were saying, Raghunath, is an organic source for fuel, fertilizer.
I'd be wearing all
pesticide.
hemp clothing. All hemp clothing.
There's hemp. There's other things. Raghunath picture himself in a funky hemp
funky,
outfit.
cool hemp outfit. Hemp woven cordage sandals.
So the point is, and what about refrigeration? You don't need refrigeration when you know how to do this, right? And that was we've talked about this before too. Like the way that a village would work, you take the milk that's being provided from the cows that you're providing care and love for, and they're providing you this superpower product that you keep it warm. It's got to be taken warm too, or it's very difficult to digest. Western people don't know this. Everybody in India knows.
We grew up having cold milk on cereal. That's part of our
homogenized milk. The homogenization just makes it's just such a ridiculously and absurd thing to do.
Well, you know why people are freaked out by cream.
I know, it's so stupid. It's like it's a healthy product the way it is. Then you homogenize it to make it seem like, oh, it's nice and smooth. And now the thing is, because when you homogenize it there's filters, like in our tissues.
Kaustubha,
yeah,
homogenization.
And when you homogenize it passes through those filters before it's fully digested, and so it becomes very difficult to digest. So it's got to remain a little thicker.
Yeah.
Now you're mocking me.
You and I just aren't scientific, but
it's true.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so you take that milk, you keep it warm, and everyone in the village come take what they need for that day.
Then there's bullock
carts.
There's
no refrigerator.
Then there's bullock carts.
Bullock carts, that's transportation.
Transportation is also needed.
Okay, but let me.
All these things are coming back. They're all resurrected sciences, my friend. If you understood how many of these things I follow on Instagram already, natural living, natural resources, living off the land, survivalism. I follow all that stuff.
I'm a great naturalist. I follow it all on Instagram. I scroll about it every day.
Foraging. I'm obsessed with foraging. Next time you come up here, we're foraging together.
Okay, I'm down. Now, could I continue this thing?
Yeah.
Just for a second. Okay, so you take the milk at the end of the day that wasn't used.
Yeah.
You turn it into yogurt. Right?
Yeah.
Now everybody can come. Yogurt will last a few days, no problem with our refrigeration.
Well, you also have refrigerators built into the earth. Every house had
Put it into the earth.
What was it called? Root cellars.
Root cellar. Yeah.
You built the root
I
cellars.
learned about that on Instagram too.
Root cellars. And also, you know what they also did? They put them in creeks. They would build like refrigerators on top of creeks.
Okay.
And that would keep everything cold. I had one in my old house.
Okay. And then you take at the end of the day or whatever yogurt's left, you churn that into butter.
Yeah.
Right. This is a super probiotic, powerful. This is what gives you a healthy gut, long life. Good health. And then you take that butter, and at the end of the day, you turn it into ghee. And then that ghee will last forever. I mean, it doesn't need any refrigeration. It can last a long.
They actually say it lasts as long as there's been like Tutankhamun's tombs.
Got some
serious. Serious. I think they found it in the pyramids.
Some ghee in the tomb.
I think
it was
so.
So good.
They fried it up and made pakoras, I think.
Nice. So this is a real lifestyle that's, here's the point. If we lovingly care for these beautiful creatures, they happily provide all of our necessities, including healthy food, fuel for warmth and lighting our homes, the cloth that we need for our clothing, and the power needed for constructions of homes and farming and all of these things. This is the way that humans and animals are meant to live together. And we've created this insane world where we create these massive factories where we kill these animals wholesale, like in the most cruel ways. We get in the most painful and torturous life and then a horrible death. We create and we have to create all these factories where we all go and live in our little personal hells, and we pollute our land, we pollute our rivers, we give ourselves all kind of horrible diseases through this, and we fight with one another because we've become so callous.
Composting toilets, humanure.
Yes, right. So this
Google
all started,
that. You can get lost in that rabbit hole for a long time.
Let's not do that. Where did this all start? It started with, we were talking about why you honor the Brahmanas and the cows, right? It's the Brahmanas that help you understand how to live a healthy life, a healthy, peaceful, productive, meaningful life. And the cows are providing everything you need to do that. If you don't honor them, if you don't take care of them, it's inauspicious. If you honor them well, it brings all auspiciousness. That's the idea. It's not just some random these people born in a particular family in the cow. It's like they understood how society is so dependent on these two. Man, what? Stop!
That
just
was a very big.
Here and just.
I'm listening to you. That was a very
got
big.
Some smirk on your face. But...
I'm happy. Can I be happy today? Are you unhappy when I'm happy?
I don't know. It didn't look happy to me.
You should be happy when I'm happy. That's what Vaishnavas do. When happy, you're happy for them.
Okay. But when you're snarky.
I'm not snarky.
Okay.
I'm just writing a takeaway today on the board that Hope Mara. But
we talked about the cow. We talked a bit about the Brahmanas today.
Well, I'm just simple living also involves composting toilets. I just wanted to put that out there. Because every being, what we do is we put we have septic tanks and we try to clean the waste with chemicals. Right. It's got to go somewhere. The thing now it's clean. We've got so many chemicals in it. Now you won't get sick from it. It's got to go. It's got to go somewhere. We're fooling ourselves. It's frustrating. You got to just go down the humanure rabbit hole for a while. But there is a problem though, because people take drugs, and I'm not even condemning drugs, but people take some type of drugs, and then that affects what comes out of you, and therefore it's not the best humanure.
So what to speak of when you pump those horrible drugs into the cows?
Oh my God!
Because you've created such a horrible situation that they're all becoming diseased. It's just brutal and cruel, and just we have to stop.
Yeah. Capitalism. Okay. Anyway,
I
that
can
was
share
a
this
that was a
infographic.
detour, but I appreciate your thing, and now I'm giving it a double thumbs up.
Okay, I'm
What's
gonna
it
share it
called
with you
again?
right now. You're gonna see it, Raghunath. You're gonna see when you see the visuals.
I think you should just email it to me later. You don't have to put it on the board. We
No,
know.
I'm
we
gonna
know
put it on
you
the
did
board.
it.
Everyone gets it, Raghunath.
No,
Why are you
not everybody gets it. 66 people, 61 people now. We're losing
them
people
get
by
it.
the moments.
I'm not trying to steal your
13,000
thunder with
people
this,
who are
Raghunath. Just let me
uploading.
put it up.
13,000 people who are uploading this will not see it, Kaustubha. You're
We can put
catering to
a
these,
link to
and
it.
a lot of these people aren't even. They're just walking around doing their morning chores. They've just got their
Okay,
photos
but if we
up.
can help 61 people, then we help 61 people. We
You're not
reach
going to
out
help
to them.
61. There's only like 14 who are on the Zoom and looking in the camera.
Then we'll help 14, even if it's
The
just
rest
one.
of the people are like doing laundry on a treadmill.
I'm putting it up there. I don't care what you say.
You guys want some takeaways?
Yeah.
Why
It's
not?
time for
Why not?
take- Oh, it's 9:02. Come on. I got a 9-year-old to
I've
get
been
to
trying-
school. All right, Mara, let's start with mine.
Go down the human
Start with
rabbit
mine.
hole.
We'll go down the humanure rabbit hole. I'm serious. I want everybody just to YouTube search humanure, and you're going to find some interesting things there.
Also, you can make pakoras from tomb ghee.
You can make pakoras from tomb ghee. Sure, why not? It lasts forever.
Noor.
It doesn't mold. Doesn't go bad.
The pakoras will, but the ghee won't.
Pakoras will. You can't find. Don't
No,
eat
they found
pakoras in
they
a
found
tomb.
pakoras in the tomb as well. They're
Those
just fine.
those pharaohs really knew how to party. Some alu tikis. Okay.
We need to cultivate spiritual vision of loving everyone.
That's
Not
right.
as good as the humanure one, but I like it.
This material world is changing seasons of highs and lows.
Oh, Krishna, it is.
Rid my heart of animosity toward other living beings.
Rid my heart.
Letting go of animosity relieves our burdens.
Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside. You know that one?
That was 2, Raghunath. Now you stop.
Don't underestimate the power of cow dung.
That's right.
Dude.
It's a magical.
It is
substance.
magic. When we lived at Gatanagari,
Antiseptic.
Indians would come to when I lived on Gatanagari when I was young brahmachari, Indians would come and they said, "Can we have your cow dung?" I'd be like, "Sure, we can give them some
There
cow
you
dung."
go.
Are you kidding? Then you compost it. Forget about it. Stuff
Yeah.
is great.
You compost cow dung?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it already ready to go as like a fertilizer and as a?
I think you got to compost it.
I think you're just mixing up ideas of right now. You don't have to compost cow dung; it's ready to go.
There you go. You got to compost it.
Right.
Back to our takeaways.
Yeah.
Stop making stuff we can't dump.
Stop
That's right.
making it. Okay, can't dump it. Don't make it. How about that? It's
All
not
right.
on me. Oh, hey, you're recycling things that can't be recycled. Why are you blaming me? Go to DuPont. Blame them. Go to like Ben.
What kind of things are you bringing to the dump?
You
What kind
can't
of
bring
toxic
paint there.
stuff?
You can't bring light bulbs. Different light bulbs. You can't bring aerosol cans. It's like they're getting on my back. Don't. And then
I don't think they're getting on your back, Raghunath. I think they're just saying that we don't allow that here. It's not like they're getting on your back.
All I'm saying is, don't make it if we can't dump it.
They didn't make it, Raghunath.
Yeah, they have laws that say, yeah, you can manufacture these toxic things.
So you're blaming the
These
government.
toxic, whoever regulates.
No
this
Brahmanas.
stuff.
That's the point.
The Brahmanas are not regulating fluorescent light bulbs. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We need more Brahmanas and fewer factory farms.
Regulating light bulbs.
Minimize pain and care for the cows.
There
Yes.
you go.
Yes.
Violence to the earth and animals lead to desensitization and violence towards each other.
Dehumanization,
And
arms production, for the
Mhm.
regulation and its destruction. It's your choice. Peace or annihilation.
What was that?
Crucifix.
Oh, crucifix. Yeah, I saw them before.
I saw them.
why would I put a
Oh, that was the
worm
song that
on
went
a-
annihilation, annihilation,
Annihilation.
self-destruction.
Destruction. Judges on fire.
I give up.
Oh,
What
what
was
was
the
it?
last
Mara, we
one?
missed it. What was it?
I
Mara?
give up.
No, go ahead.
Mary's throwing up her
No,
hands.
go on. We need it. We need
Oh,
it.
Krishna, protect me. What's the last
And
Why would I put a worm on a hook?
one? Why? Why put a worm in a hook? Why put a worm in a hook?
Why?
It wants to just to live. It wants to defecate. When they defecate, that's the fertility. That's what.
Raghunath needs to do a documentary on farming and survival. Maybe just on survival.